Well, welcome into Making Sense. Well, there's good news and bad news. The good news is maybe you've worked hard all your life and you are now ready to retire. The bad news is, can you retire? Is there going to be enough to take you through these wonderful years of your life? Is this going to be the time of your life? That's the reason we're doing this show, to make sure that you're doing the right things at different stages of your life. Today we have with us Brandt McDonald again, McDonald Hagen Wealth Management. You've been doing this 31 years.
Yes.
Started when you were a young kid.
That's right.
Pretty much, huh? Have you been doing, but your firm it's not been all the 31 years, has it?
We founded the firm in April of '98.
Okay,
So
wow.
it's been roughly 22 years.
22, and then you worked in other areas,
Right.
getting your feet wet, as they say.
With regional and national brokerage firms prior to
That's
that.
great.
But,
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Brent, folks want to retire.
Yeah.
They've worked all their lives. They've hopefully built up a little bit of a nest egg, and they want to be able to go fish, go travel, go this, do that. What's the advice we should give the persons that are looking at retirement, or maybe if they're 5 or 6 years away from it?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I do other media work, and I'm getting this question almost every day, and rightfully so. You know. Unfortunately, in a number of surveys that we've been a part of and read through the results, a lot of people around the country are postponing retirement as a result of this. They're actually contemplating that. They're also beginning to think about, well, can I go ahead and retire, particularly if they have some sort of pension, depending on where you're retiring from. If you have a guaranteed stream of income in place, that's obviously very helpful. For those who are retiring and they have none of that other than maybe a Social Security, they're going to have to use their nest egg, what they saved in their 401k or their IRA, to subsidize income. And obviously the timing of all of this is not so great. So for some of those individuals, maybe they could possibly go ahead and retire, but they're also looking at another job, or even a part-time job, something to kind of bridge the gap until we get back to some normalization of our economy and normal markets. I also would say, you know, in years past, a lot of times we see people who retire and life is good, and they just sort of sail off, and they really don't understand what they own. They don't know why they own it. They just know that in the years past it's done okay, and they think they're going to be okay. But that's not necessarily the case. And I often say, whether it's with us or whether it's with someone else, go find a professional, highly qualified planner that you can sit down with and run those numbers, because as a result of all these deficits we're going to be running, we expect higher tax rates at some point in the future to pay for all of this. That means these guaranteed streams of income, whether it's pension, Social Security, other annuity type benefits if you have that, which we're not big believers in annuities, by the way, but regardless, those streams of income are going to be taxed at a much higher rate. So we want to try to factor that into our projected cash flows as you go through retirement. The other thing is that we are bringing down our assumed rates of return as we go forward. Because the rate of return on cash and short-term bonds and fixed income is practically zero. That's a horrible situation.
That's right.
So think about it. From the old days, you would have a balanced, you know, if you retired, you said, well, let's maybe 50% in bonds and cash and 50% in high-quality stocks. Well, the stocks are, for the vast majority of them, they've been cutting dividends in order to survive. And bonds are paying a little less than 1%. So that's almost a guaranteed loss on half of the portfolio. So it's changing our thinking and everyone's thinking in terms of what is a proper allocation. Really, you know, how do you account for that? And so it's shifting a lot of these the portfolio allocations more heavily into risk-based assets. This is a result of Fed policy and fiscal policy bringing rates to zero and printing of money. So as we do that, you're forced to take on a little bit more risk, and that's not a really healthy way to be when you're going into retirement. So we're bringing down assumed rates of return. We're incorporating higher taxes in the outer years to pay for a lot of this. And that's changing the net present value or changing the current retirement picture for someone as they sit today. That's a challenge. So what we're telling people who are approaching retirement is, let's get you in here. Let's look at your current budget. Are there some things and some expectations we could change to bring down some of those expenses and overhead items? Is there another source of income out there that we could find potentially in some sort of a part-time job in a horrible jobs market? So it's going to be different for everyone. Some people will be fine. Some people are not. Some people are not going to be able to retire. And that's the sad fact of it.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to, as the year moves on here, we're going to bring you back because there may be more surprises out there.
I'm sure there probably will.
And just remember that it's McDonald Hagen Wealth Management. They're there to give you a hand, and we'll be right back right after this.